to use them. You had to download a separate thing. However, this year it has been integrated into the official WPI library. So the new C-Rio imager tool has more detailed error messages. It can rescan after the first scan if the C-Rio isn't found, and also it warns of bad messages. This year, the C-Rio images are language specific, which means teams get separate images for Windbreaker, Java, and C++. Previously, last year, we did off-sync, and these differences in versions could break a robot. So the big hardware difference this year is the driver station. So last year we had a netbook which was pretty slow, and I don't know why they gave us new netbooks this year, but maybe it's because they are not manufacturing the old ones. But generally these new driver stations are much easier to use, and the improvements are a digital keyboard, faster processor, more memory, and 3 USB ports. It can also run Windows 7. And it's only for rookie teams. The new driver station software allows you to select your network interface cards. So if you had, say, Ethernet plugged in and Wi-Fi plugged in, you can access the internet while being on the robot's network. In addition, there's better network adapter auto-config, and also it supports Windows 7. And one thing that is different this year is that you don't have to use the official Classmate netbook at competition. You can load on the driver station software onto any computer. However, one disadvantage of this is that you have to provide your own power. Competition, there will not be power for your netbooks or notebooks at competition. However, power will be provided for Classmate users, so keep that in mind. There have been changes right into the library this year. There are new motor safety functions. Motors need to be shut off if communication fails or the program hangs. Otherwise, motors can cause serious damage. Previously, robots would just keep on going if the robot lost communication or the program lagged. But this year, the new robots will stop on their own unless it's directed. To help this, there have been new functions in the library. So you have to keep on setting the motors, otherwise it will not go. And you can also change the timeout time, so you can change the length between sets.
Quiz questions over here?
Sure.
Hopefully you can enter them. Just go back to that last slide. So in the past, we're just mapping the joystick position to a speed output to the motor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how is that different than this year? I mean, if you're not providing an output to the jig, you're not turning the motor, or?
I don't know. We didn't use Jaguars last year because we broke them. Went over to bump right before shift, we broke 4 of our sticks. We had some Vickers deck in.
You're mapping a joystick position to a direct output, right?
Yeah, you're giving,
I'm just wondering how this thing comes to play. Where you have to keep feeding an output to the motors. You guys didn't see that? Or?
that wasn't part of the things we were testing.
This one? Okay.
There were other teams that did comment on it and test it because they were sent the new Jaguars. So I'm not sure how we would have to actually do it in our C++ program. And hopefully we'll have the documentation updated for that tomorrow.
Well, it should be the same. I think the difference is that in the past, once, if you were giving it the input and providing the output to the motors, if you got into a separate loop somewhere and you had already set it in the prior step, got into another loop or it hung up, that robot would just keep going because there was nothing going back to tell it to just plain stop.
Well, the watchdog should give
Well,
you here or something.
supposedly, yeah, but that wasn't bulletproof. I don't think, because we definitely saw times when things were going a little stray sometimes.
I'm assuming something in the framework itself that they've created
Yeah.
is watching this,
Yeah, but
like another watchdog or something.
it sounds like they've added features to the initialization of their
Some changes to the watchdog.
API. That they actually had to apply a timeout as part of the API.
And we ran into an issue with our vectors with their new software because they screwed up one of .h files. That's been correct.
All right, please.
So all of this should hopefully improve safety. So first came out with the smart dashboard pretty recently. It's in development, it's not quite finished yet. However, when it is finished, it will allow real-time feedback from the robot with easy code, with minimal code. So some things that can allow you guys to do is to monitor motor values, sensor inputs, PID constants. So this is an example in Java of how you would retrieve values and look at it in the driver station. So all it is a number here, and then what you name it. It's pretty simple. The controller area network is a new interface for the Jaguars. This year has been updated. Previously, the support for CAN was available as a separate library. However, this year, these libraries have been integrated into the official library. From what I can tell, it supports both toucan and serial port. And toucan is an Ethernet CAN interface produced by Cross the Road Electronics. And it can also use a serial CAN cable plugged into the serial port. So the advantages of CAN is that the processing can be offloaded from the host processor to the microcontroller in the Jaguar itself. For example, if you wanted to, say, set your Jaguar to a speed, now you can. You just attach an encoder to the Jaguar and it will automatically modulate the speed based on what the encoder is reading. So previously you could just send a PWM signal and all of your code was processed by the host CPU. But with CAN you can process all of that and you don't have to write code for that in your main code. All of this is just handled within the Jaguar. You just ask the Jaguar to set it at a speed instead of a voltage, and you attach an encoder to the Jaguar, and it should automatically monitor your speed.
In other words, no more drift, no more trim settings.
You hope
We hope, yeah.
this is all subject to change tomorrow. As we found out last year.
So these CAN Jaguars, which are black in color, were introduced last year. They were not in the kit of parts, but you could buy them separately from Luminary Micro. I don't don't know if these are going to be in this year's Carol Parts, but support is nice anyway. So in summary, there have been some software enhancement, safety, motor safety, Windows 7 support, CAN Jaguar support, and the hardware this year is pretty much unchanged apart from the new driver station from rookies, and pretty much all your code can be easily ported. It shouldn't have that many difficulties. Any questions?
Are these notes posted? Are these notes posted online somewhere?
I don't know if they'll open up First Forge tomorrow or not, where all the beta teams posted to, or if they'll summarize that on the first normal website where you see all the things going on anyway. It's hard to say what you're actually going to get tomorrow, because last year we did all this work, and when we got the kit of parts, we were surprised at what came out. And of course, you know, the first thing you have to do is download it. Last year was 3 updates the first day to get the software they got on DVDs to work. This year there could be more than 3. What is nice this year, each language is capsulized. So that if you're running C++ or LabVIEW or Java, you don't have to worry about a mismatch between the Serial installer, driver station, and your software, like we did last year. And teams got burned when they got out of sync. In fact, we did during beta. We got a C++ update, we didn't get the LabVIEW update. So it can't talk to the Serial. Held us for 2 weeks. So that encapsulation for this year is a great step forward. So the updates will be language specific. And who knows how often they'll come up.
But that comes back to the teams that are here that are newer to it, is you've got to be looking on this online weekly for updates, because they pop them on you.
I'd be looking every day.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at least weekly.
With 6 weeks, you got to look every day. I think last year there were about 5 updates that came out, and I had trouble keeping up with them because I get to our Wednesday meeting and somebody issued one at 4:15 and I'm in traffic, and I find out after I get home.
But it really doesn't matter unless the team is changed one piece or the other.
Yeah.
As long as you keep
It's
everything
still a
the
good
same.
idea to find out if they happen on a daily basis. And there's always going to be that chance that an update could break your code. That's life in the real world. Just, you know, every time Windows sends updates, you got an issue with that. But hopefully this year they've gotten a better handle on it than they did last year. We're also hoping more teams show up at competitions updated with their software. Ran into a couple last year that we helped out. They were behind 3 updates. One team didn't update at all. Well, they got their stuff running, I don't know. Because you had to have the first 3 that were on the web page Saturday after kickoff. So, but it'll be interesting this year. The new classmates for rookie teams are supposed to be a lot better than what we had last year.
How much do those cost if you want to upgrade from the...
I don't know, but since you can use your own laptop, your only issue is power at the field, because they're not going to have the connector that goes back to your laptop. And they're not going to have an AC connection up there.
They didn't last year either, though.
Huh?
They didn't last year either.
They just had it for the, or did